as a teacher, you're in a position of knowing.
Yes.
And I've always been a person who always wanted to rethink education. I always refuse to take up that position of the knower of things. Yeah, because I don't believe that is education. I believe education is vertical rather than horizontal.
Any other student who would come to you and tell you, teacher, I want to go to the toilet because I have cramps.
Yeah. So now you have to get out of that context of 67 piano keys and get to the context of period cramps. And that is a mind. I wanted to say a word that I said last time and I promise I will not say.
Yeah, don't. Yeah. She said mind fuck.
Some who are signing another language, who are totally deaf. Some who are signing German, who are totally deaf. Some who do not know how to sign at all, speaking German. Some who do not know how to sign at all, speaking another language. And some who can do all of them. As you say, it's not an age that a child can sit and reflect. But what I know is that children know power. Children know the difference between power and powerlessness. They know the difference between good and bad. They know the difference between stupid and intelligent.
Yes.
And of
Definitely.
course, if you have associated a certain school with intelligence and a certain school with stupidity, this child will know where you're taking them. And it will not be about the future. It will be about the now. You are saying, I am intelligent. It will not be, I want to be a doctor. It will be, right now you're telling me I am intelligent or I am stupid. Education is the key to success. But this is not the case in Germany. Education is our key to success. It's not bad to be intelligent, to go to the university. But you can be equally successful without going to the university.
Hello and welcome to another episode of your favorite conversation, From Home Diaspora Conversations podcast. I have to say the full name today. We haven't said that for long. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. We are so happy to have you here. We are so happy to have you watching and listening to us because we don't take you for granted. We don't take it for granted that you're spending a whole hour, sometimes even more, listening to us. My name is Carol, one of the hosts, and the other one here,
Wambui.
Yes, and welcome to our conversation today, which is really, really necessary, interesting, and I'll be interviewing Wambui today. I'm always happy because at the end, I'm the one asking the hot question. This is something I love.
Lord Almighty.
But before we get to that, we want to appreciate our sponsors, TEDx Media, who have trusted us. We've been doing this podcast for some time now, and they've been sponsoring us and working with us, and we really appreciate. We'll be telling you more about TEDx Media as we go on. But before we do that, Wambui,
why am I feeling scared?
Don't be scared. Don't.
Okay.
It was that look. I gave you that look. Yeah, Wambui, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine, Carol. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
I'm doing great.
You look like you're doing great.
I am.
Yeah.
I am really. And people, let's learn to say we are okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Not tunajaribu. We are trying.
Tunangangana.
No. If you're doing okay, if you're doing good, just say you're doing good.
Yeah.
And at the moment, I feel good.
That's
I feel good. Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah. There are other times where
I do.
Yeah. And you know what I'm missing, Wambui? I'm missing just going to the sauna with you, having just a relaxed conversation.
Yeah.
As much as we love doing this podcast, it has also taken a lot of these moments that we really
time.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah. And we had said we would be doing that. We are busy people.
We are.
Yeah.
But let's do a sauna.
Yeah.
A sauna
I'd
day
love that.
soon.
I'd love that.
Me
because,
too.
I really miss that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Especially remembering with the sauna story. But aside from
Don't go back to that story. It's not interesting at all. It's not. The sauna story? Who told
Go
you?
for it, guys. Go for it. But let's do it soon, Carol.
Yeah. Please. That's a promise.
Yeah.
And now, our conversation. Guys, I don't know if you listened to the episode where Wambui told us what she does. Wambui is a teacher here in Germany. She has studied for a very long time to get to where she is right now. She has a master's in education. And at the moment, you're teaching hearing impaired kids in 2 schools?
Now, yes. Yes, actually, yeah. I
In 2
forgot about
schools?
that. Yeah.
Yeah. And, I can't think of a harder job. You being somebody who can express themselves with words, but then having to teach somebody else without words. How is that?
Hard. It's hard, actually, because I'm also not perfect at sign language. I'm working on learning it, but sign language is a language. And it's one thing learning it for yourself. It's another thing, actually, as you say, teaching in it and trying to explain something to another person who doesn't know it in a language that you're not very, very good at. So it's sometimes it makes me feel a bit incompetent.
I can imagine that.
And especially because I teach kids who are very good at it. So sometimes they correct me, and I've learned to learn from kids. This is something that kids help me learn German. So I've learned to also learn sign language also from kids.
Yeah.
It has taken a lot of accepting that I'm not perfect, accepting that I'm still needed where I am right now, that it's correct for me to be there. Learn as I go.
Did that, or does that make you feel, as a teacher, you're in this position of
Knowing. Yes.
So and now it's the kids sometimes teaching you or telling you,
Yes.
this is what it's called. So what exactly do they, when you say they teach you, what do they teach you? They teach you the language, because you're teaching subjects like mathematics and all that, or what do you teach?
Not mathematics.
Okay, whatever. what do you teach then?
I teach English. I teach. Sometimes I teach music. I teach textiles. I teach. Well, because I teach in a special ed school, sometimes you just have to teach everything. So what they teach me is the words that are missing. Because sometimes I know what I want to say, but a word is missing.
Okay.
And anyone who has ever tried to learn a language knows this dilemma. You want to say something is in your mind. And sometimes these things offer themselves in all the diverse languages that I speak, Kikuyu, Kiswahili, German, English.
Yes.
But they're just not offering themselves in form of sign language. So it takes a lot of accepting, even telling them, asking them, how do you sign this? And then they tell me. Sometimes I spell the words for them, and then they tell me, no, this is how you sign it. And it also takes a lot of rethinking education, because you said, as a teacher, you're in a position of knowing.
Yes.
And I've always been a person who always wanted to rethink education. I always refuse to take up that position of the knower of things. Yeah, because I don't believe that is education. I believe education is vertical rather than horizontal. I know things.
What is vertical?
Vertical is like this.
Horizontal
I am
is...
higher.
Okay.
With the knowledge, and the person I'm teaching is less.
Okay.
And I like to think of it this way, such that I am here because of my age and my experience, but I'm not higher. We are on the same level. I've just gone on a bit.
Everybody's moving.
But
moving.
We're on the same level.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Yeah,
that's really interesting.
That's how I like thinking about it.
I would have loved for you to be my teacher.
Really? Are you sure?
I think so, because that brings a whole new way of seeing teachers, because we've always seen teachers as people who are up here.
Yeah.
And of course they're giving you some knowledge.
Yeah.
But still there's this thing of they're higher. They're higher.
Yeah. Which is totally mistaken, because anyone can teach you things. The
You can
teaching
learn
is
from-
experience. You can learn from
Yes.
anyone.
Yeah, that's
You know,
true.
yeah.
That's
And it's
true.
important also for me to reflect that also to my students. And in that, I'm also teaching them something. I'm teaching them there are things that you know. And this is also an important thing to know as a person.
For
That
the
there are
kids to
things that I know that you don't know. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know everything and I can teach you something.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But does it frustrate you sometimes?
It does. It does sometimes. Like an example, I have I have this one kid who's very good at sign language, but his sign language is from another country. This is a thing, by the way. Sign language is not just sign language. Every country has its own, and some different places of each country have different sign language. So sometimes
it's not a universal language.
no, it's not. I used to think it is, but it isn't. So this gets very frustrating sometimes because sometimes I don't know. Is it the word that I don't know? Or are you signing something else because you just come from another place? You know, is it me
Oh
being
wow.
not knowing enough? Or are you speaking another language and I just don't know?
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that gets.
So there could be somebody now here
Yeah.
speaking Chinese
Yes.
in sign language, not speaking signing then, because I've
Yeah.
heard now you're using signing.
Yeah.
And it's not because you don't know, it's because they're speaking a very different they're signing a very different language.
Yes. And because I'm a person who hears, which means I'm used to phonology, I'm used to sound, I don't necessarily recognize different languages in signs. Now, someone who's very conversant in sign language might recognize a different language. Like if I hear a Chinese, I will know.
You'll know that's Chinese.
I will know
this
this
language
is
I
Chinese.
don't know.
Even if I don't understand what I'm hearing,
Yeah,
I will know
yeah.
this is a different language. And but now for sign language, I do not have this meta knowledge of the language. So you could be signing anything. I don't know what you're doing.
Oh my God.
So it's sometimes it gets really frustrating. And you know, like when we had the Ukraine war, we got a lot of kids from the Ukraine also who were signing a different sign language from the one that you know.
Yeah.
So it's sometimes it gets frustrating, especially because you don't know, is it me who doesn't know or are you doing something different? And how I do it normally is I know what I want to sign. My sign language has gotten to a point where I can have a conversation because I know what I want to say. But if you say something else, or if I have to react to a new situation, then it becomes very difficult for me to react to that situation because I did not learn those words for that specific situation.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So imagine a student comes to you and tells you, I am having period cramps. So now I have to start remembering, how do you call period cramps? Because all the time I was concentrating on, how do you say the piano
English,
has
yeah,
67 keys?
That's
So I can
totally
tell you
different
yes,
topic.
yes,
And you're supposed to have all that because
yes,
there's a student in your class,
yes,
like any other student who would come to you and tell you, teacher, I want to go to the toilet because I have cramps.
yeah. So now you
Oh
have
my
to get out
God.
of that context of 67 piano keys and get to the context of period cramps. And that is a mind. I wanted to say a word that I said last time and I promise I will not say.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah.
She said mind fuck.
Yes, she said it. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. I have so much respect for what you do. I have
Thank
so
you.
much respect.
Thank you.
That's mind blowing.
Yeah, it is.
Do you find yourself also speaking sometimes? Or have you nowadays really gotten to a point where you're not using words? Like I can imagine, even if I am doing the signs, because I'm used to speaking, I'm a speaking person, I would use words. Do you find yourself?
It's actually much easier to sign without speaking. It's like the way sometimes it's easier to swim underwater than over water. It's like when I am really just signing, it's like my brain changes and just offers me the signs. If I'm speaking and signing at the same time, it's like you speaking English and German at the same time. It's more difficult to speak German and English at the same time than just speaking German.
True. Yeah.
So, but now the problem is I have to speak and sign at the same time because I have some students who are deaf and some students who are not deaf, and some of my students sign, and some of my students don't know how to sign. So you have two
It's a
different
mixed class.
Yes. So you always have two different, not even just two. Sometimes you have some who are signing another language who are totally deaf, some who are signing German who are totally deaf, some who do not know how to sign at all, speaking German, some who do not know how to sign at all, speaking another language, and some who can do all of them.
But are you now uniting them all with sign language?
So you have to do both.
You have to speak and
You have
sign.
to speak and sign at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm having a headache now.
I know.
Just from listening to
why
all that.
This is why I come from home. I see people calling me and I'm like, how important is this call? So to all my friends.
No, please understand. Please understand.
Sometimes
Yeah.
I can't. I come
You
from
just-
school and I'm like, don't talk to me. Don't ask anything of me.
Give me 2 hours
of
just
calming
calming down.
Calm down. Because it's like a brain jog all the time. Yeah.
You have to be so alert.
Yes.
So alert.
Yeah. And it's I have a friend who's completely deaf, a grown up now.
Yeah.
And I find it easier to speak to him because this conversation is on the same level intellectually.
Yeah.
Now, when you have to have also a different kind of intellect, then it also gets a bit more difficult. And sometimes when I speak to this friend, like for 2 hours, we've even decided, okay, after 2 hours, we take a break because we are both so tired.
Because he's also trying to explain to you things.
He's trying to explain things. And sometimes if I don't understand something, like sometimes we talk about culture, we talk about identity.
Wow.
How do you talk about identity in Chinese?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
To compare it now to Chinese.
Yeah.
So there was another day he was telling me my fingers are going to fall off because he's spelling the words and I don't understand. And then he has to spell it again. And I'm like, okay, so this is what you mean.
Oh my God.
So he's really like, okay, I
Now
need
we
a
need
break.
a break.
Close my eyes because of course you have to focus like this all the time. What are the hands doing? Because sometimes the hands do something else and then it means something totally different. So, and also the face, what is the face doing? Sign language is the whole body. You know, you have to focus on the whole body, the position of the body, how are the people moving? All of it is important. So you cannot be thinking about
It's not like how I listen to you now and I'm looking here and I'm doing something else. You have to be with all your senses.
Yeah.
You have to be there. You have to be present.
Yes. All that. At least I have to. I'm sure people who grew up with sign language have learned to, multitask with it. But for someone like me who's still learning the language, it's always like total 100% focus.
Presence,
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. As much as, I just say that is mind blowing. As much as it's so difficult and so tiring for the mind, you wanted to do it.
Yeah.
So there must be something exciting about it.
Yeah.
Is it a challenge that excites you? What is it about sign language that makes you even stay and continue doing the same thing?
I don't know. I just think it's fascinating. It's the same thing that I asked myself about German. Because German is really one of the most difficult languages I had to learn before I started learning sign language. And I remember when I was a kid, I was reading a book and I saw German written. And there was a desire in me to know what these hard words mean. There was a desire for me to take part in that. And I think with sign language, it's also the same. I love languages, Carol. I think I've told you this so many times. I find it fascinating how language changes people, changes how you think about food, love, everything. Language shapes the way you see the world,
I also love languages, but I would learn Italian or Spanish or...
Yeah, but everybody can do Spanish.
That's true. Not everybody.
Not everybody, but it's possible for so many people to do it.
It's easier. It's easier. Yeah.
But on
and
the
you don't do easy. You don't do easy.
And I don't know why.
Yeah.
This is what I wanted to say. I don't know why I never You just do easy things. I think I'm a person who's always like,
Because education in Germany is also,
yeah, it's also a mind fuck.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you
that
say
is-
the word again. Please say it again.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus, yeah. Especially me as a teacher, I have to be so careful about my
What you
language use, what
say.
I say.
But these kids, what they all say is
They know. They
yeah,
know all these
yeah.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, and having grown up in Kenya,
Mm,
the school system that we have
mm.
at home, you also did the 844,
Yes.
like me.
Yes.
At some point it changed, and
Yeah.
I'm losing track of how things are in
Even
Kenya.
me. Even me.
I don't. Please write to us. Tell us
I
how
think it's 7 something now.
is it 7
746 76.
762 7?
Sorry, guys, tell us.
Sorry.
We have no idea.
Yeah, I've been trying to follow, but it becomes at some point. But that is ignorance. Sorry, I'm not. Let me not excuse myself. We should know actually,
But why?
but we don't.
Why should we?
I don't know because
is being far
because
from
we
home.
have we are
You
far
have to
from
know
home.
about school here because your kids are in school here.
Yes, let's talk about school here.
Yeah.
The difference.
The difference.
What is the major difference between the school system in Kenya, the way we had it, and here in Germany?
Oh my God, where to begin? I think the major difference is that school here is a state business. It's the business of the state. So everybody gets to go to school. Everybody actually has to go to school.
There's something called
Schulpflicht.
Yeah.
And you actually pay real money if you don't take your kid to school. So it's not just a right. You are supposed to take your kid to school.
Verpflichtet.
Yeah. You are forced. You are required. You are required
Yeah, you're required.
Yeah.
So and I know you have to take your kids to school. And if you don't, after some days, there'll be police on your door.
Yes.
If the teacher says, this kid is not coming to school and we don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have no excuse for that, it can cost you a lot. I know there are people who don't send their kids to school, but this is very rare and it has to have a very good reason. Otherwise, I think that's the major thing. And then, which also affects now how school is seen in general. I think I was a grateful kid when I went to school. For me, it was like, thank God I'm going to school. And I think there's a general air of, why do we have to go to school? And it's the same way, even the way teachers are treated. It's like something that we all have to deal with, but we actually would rather not deal with it.
How do you mean that?
Like, yeah, it's a core. It's a chore. It's not something that will help you. It's something that you've got to do.
You have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because when I grew up, education was supposed to help me, regardless of whether it helped me or not.
Yeah, yeah.
It was.
But in your mind, you knew, I have to have education for me to go further in life. Yeah. Like education was our only way out of our situations.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in Germany, that's not the case. At least this is not how people see it. Although Germany is an education country, you know, that's one of their greatest assets is actually education. And also that it's free. Education is 100% free if you want it. I know that there are people who have to pay for school fees, private school kids. I think like your kids pay school fees.
Yeah. It's a semi-private. Yeah. But normally the schools are free in Germany.
Yeah. School is free for everybody.
For everybody,
Yeah. And the next other difference is that it's separated into 4 streams. Actually, more streams, but it's like you have something called Gymnasium, you have Hauptschule, you have Realschule, you have Gesamtschule. There are different kinds of schools. And I know we have this in Kenya too. We have national schools, district schools. But in Germany, it's like it's separated according to how you achieve the achievement of the child.
Yeah. But that's also the same in Kenya, because for national schools, it's also your marks or your points that take you there.
In high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here they go earlier.
Yeah.
Like for us, we have primary school. It's class 1 to class 8.
Yeah.
In Germany, it's different.
Class 1 to 4.
It's class 1 to 4. That's primary.
Yeah.
Mm.
So they're separated at the age of 10. So that's also quite a difference.
And how do you feel about that? Is it an age where children can know, or is it a decision made by parents and teachers where that kid should go? Because I don't know, in class 4, I was good in school, but I can't say that I would have made a decision of whether I'll go to a national school or to a district school in Kenya. But at class 8, I was sure about where I wanted to go. You know, I had this knowledge of the school I go to from now will also somehow shape what happens after that. So are kids in that age in a position to make these decisions, or who makes these decisions?
Yeah. I think I don't know. I don't know why we still do that. I'm sure there were some good reasons when people came up with this idea at the beginning, but as you say, it's not an age that a child can sit and reflect. But what I know is that children know power. Children know the difference between power and powerlessness. They know the difference between good and bad. They know the difference between stupid and intelligent.
Yes,
and of
definitely.
course, if you have associated a certain school with intelligence and a certain school with stupidity, this child will know where you're taking them. And it will not be about the future. It will be about the now. You are saying, I am intelligent. It will not be, I want to be a doctor. It will be, right now you're telling me I am this, I am intelligent, or I am stupid. And I have, my students tell me that sometimes. They tell me, of course you know we are stupid. You see the school we are in. So it's something that they know already.
Because they've been told, or has been...
Yeah. Because this is hierarchy. There is a very, very clear hierarchy about Gymnasium, Gesamtschule, Realschule, Hauptschule. It's a hierarchical thing.
And as much as some people are born more intelligent than others, there's also a thing about what you tell your brain, what you hear from your society, and how you're treated. Because if I continuously tell my child they cannot do something, they won't be able to do it, because they'll believe it at some point.
Obviously.
So if you take me to a school where, you know, here you don't have to do much, which necessarily, it doesn't have to necessarily be like that. You can also be in this school and still be good and still perform well, but because everybody is talking about this school like it is a school for losers, you don't find kids trying much to...
And even when you are an achiever in a school for losers, and I'm putting this in quotes, what does it mean for you to be a good performer in a school that is generally performing poorly? It means that if you have a 3, which is an equivalent of C, you will be the best.
Yeah.
But does that mean that you're good?
Yeah, that's the thing.
So who are you comparing yourself with?
To.
You know, so I think this is actually I think that's actually the major problem. We are social beings. My environment, what is my environment telling me? Because my environment tells me what is possible and what isn't. So if I have seen people having an A, I will know A is possible. If I've never seen anyone having an A, how am I supposed to know that this is possible? And so I think this is, and of course, it's interesting because exactly what you're saying, the socioeconomic status of parents has been shown even a lot in research. This is something you can also check for yourself, especially in Germany, to really go hand in hand with performance, you know, because how much money we have dictates also which school I go. It also dictates how well I will perform, you know, so this is sort of a cycle. Yeah.
And do you think, because we parents pressure our kids a lot, like we just said in the beginning, where we come from it's education that we only knew the only thing that will take me from this place, will get me out of this place is education. So we kind of also, as parents, because I am a mother and I know that, pressure our kids because we tend to think, oh, that's the only thing we know.
Yeah.
The only thing I know is education.
Yeah.
So you have to perform. You have to have straight A's. You have to have. But these kids have other possibilities that we did not have.
Yes.
So how important is it for you now as a teacher for a kid to go to a gymnasium after the 4th class? Here is a quick one to tell you about our sponsors, TEDx Media. I've been working with TEDx Media for about 5 years now, and this has saved my life, literally saved my life. TEDx Media has a way of helping you to optimize your office work. So I am a very chaotic person. My office was looking like you can imagine it. And then TEDx Media came and they really helped me to optimize the processes, especially the processes of how I work, what should happen when, they came and advised me. They came and sorted out most of my files and all that, because I am not that. And then my website, it's beautiful because it is being maintained, it is being serviced by TEDx Media. And then the CEO of the company, Christian Tiedemann, who does all that, comes to you, advises you, he talks to you, he listens to your needs, and then crafts everything according to how you need it, but adding his professionalism in everything that he does, such that at the end of it all, and he will not use anything he doesn't think is okay for the person visiting your website. So if your photos are not good enough, then he'll not put them in. And that is the level of professionalism that I need when I'm working with someone, so that they just don't do everything I tell them to do. They tell me, okay, it's your website, but it has my name on it. So he will not do anything that is not professional enough. And the other thing is event management. Guys, these guys are so organized. TEDx Media is so organized. They have taken control and over. They organize our African festival, which happens every year. So I have nothing to do with it. The first year I organized it myself. I almost went crazy. And nowadays I just get calls, or when we're talking, it's a yes, no, and I have nothing to do with it. It's the best thing that ever happened to me. I love working with these people. I love the way they, present themselves in a way that is, I will talk about professionalism the whole time, because that is what they are. They are professionals. And you see that in everything they do. When they're doing consultations with you, they are very specific in everything that they're doing. You can only be satisfied when you're working with TEDx Media. And I'm so glad that I have trusted us now to sponsor our podcast. And I've been working with them all this time, satisfied with their work. I'll continue working with them. So please visit their website, www.tedx.de. That's www.tiedex.de. Visit them, because you'll be doing yourself a favor. Thank you so much.
I used to, my position has really changed since I started teaching. Because before that, my education knowledge was very, very theoretical. And of course, when you look at Gymnasium, many people who come from Gymnasium go to the university. When you look at Hauptschule is now the sort of the lowest kind of a lowest in form of performance.
Yeah.
Kids rarely go to the university after that. You cannot even qualify to go to the university when you go to such a school. You will have to go to another kind of a school for you to actually be able to go to the university.
To be accepted.
Yeah. So originally I used to think, of course, you have to give your kid the best and you have to fight for the best. But as you say, we were taught that education is the key to success. But this is not the case in Germany. Education is our key to success. It's not bad to be intelligent, to go to the university, but you can be equally successful without going to the university. In fact, you can even be more successful without a degree than someone who has a master's degree. And like someone like me even went all the way to do Staatsexamen. This is even more than a master's degree. But it doesn't mean that that someone who did not go to the university cannot earn more than me. So I think it's important for parents, especially for our parents, to understand that this is just one possibility. And intelligence is different. You know, there are kids who are clever. Some people are just clever. We have to accept that. And some people are not. They have other talents. They have other ways of understanding things. They are artistic, but they don't have this book cleverness. And book cleverness is not everything.
Yeah, but that is how our intelligence is measured.
I know.
In so many ways.
I know.
It's measured with mathematics and English. And it's not how, if you give this child a piece of wood, what can they make out of it?
Make out of this wood?
Yeah.
I know.
And that is a problem, which I imagine it would be nice, but is that even possible?
There is a quote I once read. It's infuriating to actually know this and to still continue, because I continue to work in the same system.
Yeah.
It's infuriating to know this and to still continue doing this because it's a structure, of course. I once read a quote that intelligence is what the intelligence test measures. And this was one of the deepest things that I ever read. Because if you come and measure my capabilities of playing a piano, of course I will be stupid.
Yeah.
Because so if this is now how you measure intelligence, of course everybody who doesn't play piano will be stupid. And I think tragically enough, this is how we've made education. We've made education very specific. And so we continue to test kids in this manner, and things are changing. You know, there are many teachers who come in and try to do different things and offer students different things. But ultimately, intelligence will be mathematics, will be your language capabilities.
At the end of the day, the test they're doing, which will be on their certificate, is that.
Yeah. So the only comfort that really one can give parents is that, at least in Germany, even without having done all those things, there are still so many other possibilities. I think it's more tragic to pressure a kid into going to a gymnasium than just letting them be. Let your child be average. I always find this so funny. Whenever you tell a parent your child is average, the reaction.
Oh, yes. My child is average.
How dare you
say my child is average?
Even just tell a friend you're average.
We all want to be extraordinary.
We all want to be extraordinary, but what is that then? You know, sometimes I like reminding people that average means majority. It means the majority of people are average. Most of us are average. There are very few people who are extraordinary, and this is why it's called extraordinary. Very, very few people. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's good. I've taught kids who had a very high IQ, but still they could not grasp things. They were socially totally incompetent. So this pressure of making your child be more intelligent than the rest, and I know where it comes from, but we really should take it down. Because Carol, I've also worked in schools for psychologically ill kids. You know, this is where people send kids when they are no longer coping, when they are suicidal, when they're taking drugs. There are many cases of anorexia and bulimia in this country. And most of the kids I found in such schools came from Gymnasium, because there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Pressure. You have to learn so much. And if your brain is not wired that way, there are people who have such brains. If your brain is wired differently,
into a gymnasium and you're not
that.
Yeah.
Of course, you constantly think you're stupid, and your sole identity is this intelligence that you don't have. And if you're a teenager, when your identity is already so shaky, you're still trying to formulate and decide who you are. Being put in this position is such a difficult position to be in. And there's no need. There is really no need. There are so many things you can do in Germany without going to the gymnasium.
That's so true. I remember when my daughter was, I think she was in class 2, and she was in the normal system school, and of course, I was putting a lot of pressure on her.
Mm.
She's not the kind, and like we are, we parents from Kenya.
Mm.
I was number one. I was in
Yes.
mathematics, and I was doing this, and I was learning like this. I was already in your age. I was already doing this and learning this, and I was putting a lot of pressure on her.
Mm.
And then she was also getting pressure in school somehow.
Yes.
And she started having this fear of school.
Mm-hmm.
So I noticed she wasn't enjoying school anymore. Because you're also getting calls from teachers. Yeah, her handwriting, her mathematics is not good, and her this. And it's not one thing. And this is not good, and this is not good, and this is not good, and this is not good.
I know.
And what you do is you put pressure on this kid.
Yeah.
Because of course you want your kid to be good.
Yes.
And especially we as immigrants, we
Yes.
want our kids to be the best.
Yes.
And we put a lot of pressure on our kids.
Mm-hmm.
And me being the person I was, a SWOT, really, learning like crazy, I wanted my kid to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I've come to learn is that these are individuals very separate from yourself.
Yes.
And they are different.
Yeah.
And you can have 10 kids and they're all different.
Yeah.
So I started, like the person I am, my love for my kids, I started researching and thinking, what can I do about this? Because I didn't want to see her like that. She was still tiny, and my situation was also very different from hers. And I was also, doing all these things for her. She was dancing ballet from the time she was little, and from the time she started with 5. She has been saying she wants to be a ballerina. Dance is her everything.
And she does it
everything
so beautifully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here I'm pressuring her with, she comes from school, the first thing she does is take her dancing shoes and starts dancing. And now you can imagine me telling her, put your shoes away. You have to learn now. You take your mathematics books. And then the kid is sitting there, almost falling asleep because she doesn't want to. That's not what she wants to do.
She doesn't care about that.
She doesn't care about that.
Yeah. Carol, we've totally misunderstood education. Carol, if you want to learn something, the process of learning that thing is so quick. If your brain wants to learn something, it learns it.
Yeah.
And you will want to learn it no matter what. You will put your mind to it and you will learn it. If your brain does not want to learn something, you will struggle.
How I stopped at some point. She was sitting there looking at the book and then reading. Repeat. And she repeats, and then I ask her, what have you? She doesn't know.
She doesn't know.
No.
Of course.
The
brain has refused.
Yeah.
And this is also something that really surprised me because, Carol, when we went to school, we were beaten, we were abused. I remember there is a teacher who even told me, "Oh, Swaboy Kamade." You can take a donkey to the river.
Oh my God. Now I'm getting stitches. You can take a donkey to the river. But
You can take a donkey to the river. You can even force the donkey to drink the water.
Oh my God.
But you cannot force it to swallow. Big up my teacher. You were so right.
You cannot force it to swallow the
No.
water. Yeah.
And it is so true.
That's true. Yeah.
You cannot force your brain to learn something. Once it has refused, it has refused.
Yeah.
But the other thing is also true. Once it has accepted, I want to learn this.
Yeah.
Then it has accepted and it will learn.
Yeah.
And the single best thing you can do for your brain is to just let it be. This fear that I see here in Germany, because Cara, I've also told you, I was also scared of going to school, although I am a grown-up. But the first time I started teaching, there was this fear. Sometimes I would stand at the door and I was unable to open the door because I was so scared of going to school. And I've seen kids being so scared also of going to school because of pressure. There is so much pressure. And the pressure is not just on the kids. The pressure is on the teachers.
Also on the teachers.
The pressure is on the whole school system. Everybody wants kids to be better, better, better. Teachers to be better, 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 better. So there's this pressure of I am never good enough. I will never ever be good enough. And teachers don't do this because they want to hurt the child or because they are malicious.
We all want the best for these kids.
It's just everybody wants the best. And nobody draws a line. Where is the best? No one is drawing the line. So there's more to do. And then there's more fear. So I think what I really, if somebody really asks me for advice, and some people do come to me and I'm always like, let your kid be. When the kid relaxes and they know it is okay, I can trust my brain. This is the best thing you can do to your child, is to let them know they can trust their brain to understand things. That's it. And then they will start doing it.
Telling us not to, when the kid comes home, not to learn with them. They still have to be okay in this world of intelligence being measured by what you learned in school.
I know.
They still have to, I don't know. Do I just say, okay, they learn when their brain is ready?
I know, Carol, I know this is hard to accept. I'm not telling you not to do homework with your kids. By all means, do it. Just know that the more you pressure your kid, the less you achieve. Okay. So what you can do if your child is really struggling is to set a time. Really, 45 minutes to 1 hour. That's enough. That's enough learning after school. They're already learning so much in school. Let them do 1 hour after school and then they're done.
The schools here which end at 11:45, guys.
Yes, it's still enough. Let them learn other things. Let them learn how to become humans. I have students in grade 10 who do not know how to take the train. Let them learn other things. Let their brains become more elastic. Yeah. Because now we've fixed the brain to just learn one thing all the time. Let your learn know how to cook. Your kid know how to cook, how to prepare things, how to live in this world without education. Because education is not the only key to success. Your kid will need to know how to survive. And if they don't know how to live, if you don't teach them how to live, you just force them to do homework all the time. What will they leave the house with? What do they have? I remember I had an ex-boyfriend, their mom was still doing their underwear, washing their underwear at the age of 25. Why would you do that?
So that you give them time, you give them time to learn.
But you give them time to learn. Let them go to the wash machine and learn how it works. Let your child know that there are so many different ways of learning. It's not just one thing. And like I say, more time doesn't mean more achievement. I know this because
more time doesn't mean more achievement.
No.
I hope parents like me.
It really doesn't. Yeah. Carol, how often did I sit in front of my master thesis, looking at it, nothing happens. And then 3 weeks before, something happens, and then I can do it.
Your brain is open.
My brain is open to do it, and then I can do it. Before that, even if I gave myself 6 months, 2 years, I wouldn't have done it. It's not about the time. It's about your kid knowing, okay, I can do it.
Yeah.
And
I know it's not possible for every parent to take their child out of the system. But like I was saying, when I noticed how my daughter was, I started looking for other possibilities. And I found this school where they're really taught many things, many things. There's also a dance class. And that my daughter is in paradise during that class. They do gardening. They do, they have 2 lessons which they call Hauptunterricht, the main subjects. And then after that, they are divided into 2 groups. And one group goes, gardening. They go do carpentry. They go do, and guess where my kids are good at? Everything else, but mathematics, and they're good in English, because we
speak English. Yeah.
But talk about sports, talk about gardening, talk about knitting, talk about all these other things. They are super good in them. And when you add all that, plus the little percentage that this intelligence, what we are talking about now, is given, I really thought my kids are actually doing good.
They are. Have you seen?
My kids are actually doing
your
good.
Your kid one day, he made a blue pizza.
Yeah.
This is so creative. I mean, it's so amazing.
But
You know?
I couldn't eat it. Blue pizza.
I know, but this is the kind of creativity of trusting. Let me make
Yeah.
it blue and see what will
Yeah,
happen.
yeah. That,
You know?
one boy.
Yeah.
Just allowing, also for me, allowing kids to try out things.
Yeah.
Just to see what happens. He will, don't think of it as wastage. Like,
Yeah.
now our flour is.
Yes.
No. Just
They
letting
just
them.
live always in this. And sometimes, especially now, these things that we were taught to learn, mathematics, English, German. Let me tell you, the world of the next generation has totally changed. Writing a letter is no longer a sign of intelligence. Why? Because artificial intelligence can do it.
Yeah.
Mathematics,
better.
artificial intelligence can do it. What our kids need right now is to know how to survive as human beings. Because these
That is so
mathematic
true.
things,
To survive as human beings.
yes. Like you said in another episode, you are the dancer,
Yeah.
you know? And we've been taught to prepare the dance floor and make it perfect. No, to prepare this kid to be a human being so that regardless of what artificial intelligence can do for this kid, the
They're
kid knows what to do with it.
Yeah.
You know? Because right now, it doesn't matter if I can calculate 500 times 10,000 divided by 69. I don't have to do that. Artificial intelligence can do it immediately. Why do I need to know that? I don't need to know that. But I need to know how to sit here and talk to you.
Yes.
And maybe you open doors for me. This is important.
Yeah.
Oh,
I have a fly that is. I don't like fly. I don't like flies.
I know Carol doesn't like
They make me crazy. Yeah, but that is so true, Wambui. And thank you for saying that. We need to teach our kids to just be human beings, to be kind.
Yes.
To be able to look people in the eyes and have a conversation.
Yeah.
Those are important things.
And it doesn't
nice
mean
to hear that from a teacher.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that your child will not be poor, because the one thing doesn't mean the other thing will not be given. It doesn't mean now that your child will be stupid once they are concentrating on these other things. The brain is elastic. The more you offer it, the more it will be able to grasp.
Yeah.
So it will be even easier for this kid to learn other things, even to accept schoolwork more, because it's no longer forced, And I mean, look at us, even the parents who are listening to us who are diasporans. We came here, we learned German. How did you do it? How did you do it? You did it because you had to do it. If you had been given German in class 5 in Kenya, would you have learned it?
I don't think so.
Will it have worked?
No.
People who try to learn French in high school know this. You did not learn it because it was not important for you. But when you're here and it's important for you, then you do learn it.
So you're saying some things, even if they're not working now, if sometimes in the future, these kids, or if they're a bit older, if something is important for them, they learn them.
They will learn it. I am always for less pressure, regardless of what you do. And I know I am not a parent, so I don't have kids, and I totally understand that there are things I might not understand about raising kids. But I know something about the brain and how it works. The more pressure you give the brain, the less it will work, especially if it's supposed to understand things. It won't. It just won't. But if you let it go, it will understand things. It happens because our brains are meant to understand things, just like our eyes are meant to see. If your eyes are closed and once you see something, you see a light, the first thing you do automatically is to look at it, because that's the work of your eyes. Its work is to look. Unless you don't want to see, and then you really literally have to block your eyes. When you're watching a horror movie, you are blocking your eyes, but you're still trying to look, because the work of your eyes is to see. And the work of the brain is to learn things. It wants to learn things. It will learn.
Don't force it.
Don't force it. It does it automatically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true, especially when we stop putting the pressure.
Yeah.
Because I'm talking about my daughter, and she's now in 9th class, which in Kenya would be Form 1. And that is now the next step they go to, because they have these 4 years and then they do another 4 years. In the school she's in, it's almost like not like the schools in Kenya. It goes it starts from class 1 and just
Goes on
goes
until she's
on.
done.
There's no this going to the next step. But for me, in my head, I still have that. In Kenya, this would be Form 1. And I'm not saying she was, my expectation was an A or 1 here in Germany. So because she wasn't getting that, I wasn't satisfied with that. And then the pressure I was putting, and then she changed schools, and she was getting a C in all these things, which is actually okay.
C is average. Yeah.
And all these other things, she's getting A's. But I'll be honest, I wasn't seeing that.
Yeah.
I wasn't seeing that.
Yeah.
Until I let that go and started praising her for these things. This happened like 2 years ago, 1 year ago. I started praising her for these other things. You know, I said, mathematics, you got this. That's okay. But look at how good you did this and this.
Yeah.
And then last year, before she now went to class 9, her teacher was telling me, I don't know what happened to Anna, but all of a sudden, she's one of the best in class.
Imagine that.
And I was like,
what happened? Yeah.
I stopped pressuring her.
Yeah.
I stopped telling her this is the most important thing. And these other things you're doing, it's okay, you have A's there, but I was not seeing that. I was not.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, everything else is working.
And it is possible. That's how it works. That's how it works. When you show them, I know what you can do. And we also know that because this is also how we are.
Yeah.
Someone focuses on the things that we can't do all the time. How do you feel? How do you feel when someone is always telling you about the one thing that you can't do well?
Yeah. And not seeming to recognize what you can do.
Yeah. It never makes you better. It has never made anyone better.
That's true.
And you know, the one thing, especially for parents who are maybe scared and you don't know, you don't really trust, what am I supposed to do? What's the right thing? I think if you just have a routine where your kid comes home and then first of all, they have their time, free time, let them relax. Don't pressure them. Then maybe at some point, it's homework time. This is always homework time, regardless of whatever.
Okay.
And then after that, it's also free time. Then it becomes a routine. It becomes something they always do all the time. And it's not this, oh, you're not better. You're still not better. You're still not focusing on the weakness of anyone, even on an animal, even on a plant.
Does not help.
We've read research about plants who've been praised and got better and who were criticized and died.
Yeah. These are experiments that were actually done.
It's actually done and it actually works. Strengthen your child. They need it. I know we're not given
need to know they're good at something.
More than what they're not good at.
Yeah. We parents make our children feel stupid in many ways.
Yeah, because we were made to feel stupid.
Yeah.
And this is the only way we learned how to be. But because we think that if you tell someone what they're bad at, that they're going to improve.
They'll work on that.
They will work on that.
Yeah. Look at your mathematics.
It doesn't work.
Yeah. You're so stupid. You're in 7th class and you cannot do 2 plus 2. No, that's exaggerated, but
yeah. And your child's life will be totally different. The teacher was telling me about the donkey was a chemistry teacher. I am where I am today without chemistry. I did not need it. I mean, it was an important lesson for me in school. I was very poor at it. I never got better at it. But that doesn't mean that my life is bad now.
He did not force you to swallow.
To swallow, no.
No, so
he gave up. He was like, you know what?
It was the donkey that was forced to go to the river.
And it was forced to memorize the periodic table. I tried. Mg means what? Gold? I don't know. It didn't make sense to me. And I did not know why.
I also don't.
Yeah. And my life today is still good. So trust that your child's life will still be good regardless of what they are bad at.
Thank you.
Yes.
And that is what we call this drop.
Bang.
Bang.
I'm done talking.
That's it.
I'm done talking. I'm done talking.
This one is a teacher here. This is the kind of teachers. You're the kind of teachers we need. We need more of you.
Yeah.
Really.
Yes.
And I'm honestly, not because you're my friend, but I honestly think we need more teachers telling our children that.
Yes.
And giving that to our children.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm always amazed at your intelligence and how you're able to take things and explain them in a way that even me and many others I know can understand. And that makes you a good teacher in every sense of the word, because you teach me so many things. An adult who has been through much, and the way you teach is not that thing you said about vertical and horizontal. That is because that's how you are. You don't teach from a position of I am here, I'm teaching you. You just transmit, or you give your knowledge without showing I know better than you. And it gets, I understand everything you tell me, because I don't feel like I am stupid and there's somebody now coming to tell me things. And I'm able to absorb that better because I'm not seeing you here. We are together on the same level. Thank you for that.
I appreciate.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And now, we of course have to do the hot seat question.
I have to go.
No, you don't. No, you don't. It's a short one, and it's also.
Can we postpone?
No, we can't.
Oh, no.
No, we can't. But it's just a nice question.
Okay.
It's really coming from me. Okay. If you were not a teacher, what would you be?
A singer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do both, but and I've known this only recently, because I used to think that if I was not a teacher, I would be writing my PhD or something. I love education, so I've always been very nerdy about education and linguistics. I'll be doing some research in linguistics, but I realized that will still be teaching. The ultimate goal of doing that would be to teach. It will never be to understand. It will be to be able to teach about it. So if I was doing something totally different, I would be singing. I'll be having a tour here and moving to Kenya and Tanzania and coming back and performing on all the beautiful stages that I've ever seen and dressing up for it.
Wow.
I would really love that. And I will take Wendo. Hi, Wendo. Oh, it would be amazing to do that with Wendo. I would love it. Yeah.
But that way you'd still be teaching, Wambui. We teach through music too.
Yeah.
You're still a teacher.
Yeah, it's true.
Regardless of, you are the dancer, regardless of which stage you're on. Now you're teaching in schools with sign language. At some point, you might be teaching through music. You still do that. You still do that.
Yeah.
But I can imagine that you'd also be able to earn a living through it, because you have a beautiful voice.
Thank you.
You have a beautiful voice.
Thank you.
And you're a teacher through and through. You're a teacher.
I am a teacher.
Yeah.
I am. And I love it.
And you can't think of that as being something different, because in that, you'd still be teaching.
Wow. I've never looked at it like that. I always think that being the one means not being the other.
No.
But it's true. I actually teach with music. Even right now with my students, I actually do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is true.
So you'll not stop being a teacher. You maybe just change the stage if it comes to that.
I hope it does.
I hope for you that it does, because I know how passionate you are about music.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that beautiful question. The other ones are also okay. But this one was nice.
I told you, sometimes I'm nice. Sometimes I'm nice.
Yeah.
Are you hungry?
I am. And last time there was no food.
So let me just quickly do something for Wambui to eat. So Wambui, after not doing something for you last time.
Dry spell.
So sorry about that. I know how disappointed you are.
You know how I look forward to the food.
I know.
Okay.
Sometimes I think you do this podcast for the food. No, I know you do for the conversation.
Yeah.
But the food is a very big part of it too. Yeah, I know. I know you. So we are in autumn. And autumn is a time for pumpkins here in Germany. And I love pumpkins, and I make them in all variations because they are healthy. And we have plant-based goodness today. It's a pumpkin soup, all plant-based, with some pumpkin oils, pumpkin seed oil on top.
Wow.
Enjoy.
It looks beautiful, and I'm sure it will be delicious.
Yeah, just enjoy.
Thank you.
This is food that I can eat every day. I just love.
Me
you know,
too.
I love plant-based goodness, and
And you know, I
Yeah.
used to hate pumpkins, you know, because
Me
we
too.
used to eat them all the time.
me too. Yeah.
But now I love
Yeah.
pumpkin soup.
It was food for babies.
Yeah.
It used to be food for babies.
Some ginger.
Of course. And this also for
Some
people.
carrot.
Ginger is of course very healthy in many ways, but also during this when it comes to the cold time of the year, like in winter, it's always good to use ginger in your food a lot because it warms the body, and it also does a lot of what is it called? Killing infections. You know, yeah, it's
Like
good for.
detox.
Yeah, anti-inflammatory.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah,
need that.
yeah. It's a very
Dr.
good one.
Sebi will have said yes. Amen.
So do a lot of ginger during this cold time of the year. Do a lot of pumpkins. These orange vegetables, they are really good for you. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. I think we'll just now enjoy our food here. And
Me, I'm done talking.
thank you for subscribing. Thank you for telling your neighbors and your sisters and your brothers and your aunties and your grandmothers and everybody around you about these conversations. We appreciate you. We love you. And we hope to see you next week. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.